Hello, everyone. Once again, thank you so much for joining us today. My name is Omar Bashir, and I am an Education USA advisor with Education USA, and I'm based in Karachi, Pakistan. Today, we are going to talk to Carnegie Mellon University. It's going to be about the graduate school in the US. I will be introducing the panelists momentarily. We also have two Pakistani students who are joined today to share their experience with you when they were applying for schools while they were in Pakistan in the US, and you can learn a lot from them today. We will take questions towards the end of the webinar, so you're more than welcome to utilize the Q&A box if you have any questions. Before we begin, I would like to formally introduce you all to Education USA. Education USA in Pakistan is part of the US Department of State network of over 430 international student advising centers in more than 175 countries and territories. The network promotes US higher education to students around the world by offering accurate, comprehensive, and current information about opportunities to study at accredited post-secondary institutions in the United States. Education USA in Pakistan offers free advising services to Pakistani students who wish to pursue bachelor's, master's, and PhD in the United States. If you look at the US college application process, it can seem a bit daunting. However, Education USA Pakistan has broken down the US college application process into 5 simple steps. And Education USA advisors assess students with all 5 steps. No matter where you are on this horizontal trajectory, you can reach out to Education USA advisor and we will gladly assist you. Education USA Pakistan also has an app now where you can download it through the QR codes on your screen. By downloading this app, you can chat with the advisors during the regular business hours from Monday to Friday. You can also sign up for our events, and you can also access the frequently asked questions. Here is a link, www.educationusa.pk/register. You can go on this link and sign up for the free advising services. Once you sign up, you will get an advisor assigned. Once you get an advisor assigned, you can work with them throughout your college application process. Also down below, omar.bashir@usefp.org is my work email. After this session, if you have any questions, you're more than welcome to reach out to me. At this time, I would like to introduce you all to our panelists from Carnegie Mellon University. First one is David Dannenberg. David Dannenberg is Senior Associate Director of Admissions and Financial Aid. David started at Carnegie Mellon University in 2014 as an Assistant Director of Admissions. He currently serves as Senior Associate Director of Admissions for the Heinz College of Information Systems and Public Policy. His main responsibilities include student recruitment, communication, marketing, study abroad coordination, and leading the onboarding and orientation for all incoming Heinz College students. He earned a Bachelor's of Education and Master's of Education from Kent State University. Welcome to the panel, David.
Thanks for having me.
We have 2 Pakistani students. First one is Fatima. Fatima is from Islamabad, Pakistan. She is pursuing a Master of Science in Public Policy and Management at Carnegie Mellon. She is also the co-founder and vice president of the Pakistani Student Association at Carnegie Mellon University. Welcome to the panel, Fatima. We have...
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome.
Sorry.
We have Hashim Ikram as well. Hashim is from Islamabad, Pakistan as well. He is a first-year graduate student at Carnegie Mellon University, and he's pursuing master's degree in Information Security Policy and Management. Welcome to the panel, Hashim.
Thank you, Omar.
Welcome. David, I will stop sharing my screen, and you're more than welcome to share your screen.
Okay. Perfect. Look good to everybody?
Yeah, looks good.
Great. All right. Well, again, thank you so much, Omer, and thank you, Hashem and Fatima, for joining me. Thrilled that we have this group this evening. There must be nothing exciting happening in Pakistan tonight for you all to be with us. So thank you. I'm sure there's a lot going on. I'm really excited to share this information with you today. We are going to dive into the world of graduate studies, and this is a presentation that I'd like to share about how to put your best foot forward in the admissions process. I've been working in higher education for well over 10 years now, and have been at Carnegie Mellon for 10 of those years. So I feel like I'm able to share a little bit of insight on how you can prepare for graduate studies, share with you a little bit of information about the Heinz College itself and the perspective that this presentation comes from, and then finally talking about financing your graduate education, of course, a very important piece to everyone's graduate search. So with that being said, we'll first dive into how to put your best foot forward in the graduate admissions search. And the search doesn't even begin until you start to do a little bit of research. And the research starts with yourself and understanding why it is that you want to attend graduate school. So there's a lot of reasons why people want to attend graduate school. Some are for a career change or a pivot. Others are looking to ensure that they get to the certain level that they need within an organization. Sometimes they need that master's degree. And then other times it's for a competitive advantage to be able to develop that set of skills to do a deep dive into a particular area. These are all very valid reasons for why you want to attend graduate school. I would say that if somebody comes to me and says, I want to attend graduate school because my parents said so, then we should have a discussion. But these are very good reasons why you want to attend graduate school. Of course, there's one other reason maybe why, and that would be monetarily. We have found through the U.S. Bureau of Labor and Statistics that a student who earns a master's degree earns over their career over $1 million more than somebody who just has the bachelor's degree. So this is very good incentive for you to consider taking a master's degree, if none of the other reasons. Now, as you're going through this search, one of the things that you may want to start asking yourself is, do I want to go right now or do I want to go later? And right now being maybe you are currently studying your bachelor's degree and you want to go straight into the master's, and maybe you are currently working or you are thinking about going to work first before graduate school. And these are some of the questions that you want to ask yourself. Certainly there are benefits and cons to both, but really making sure that you have done the research and really asked yourself these harder questions to choose the right time to go to graduate school. It's a lot of time and money to invest into graduate school, and so you want to make sure that you're at the right place in your life to be successful in graduate studies. Some of those additional questions you want to ask yourself would be, do I enjoy my field of study? Do I need a graduate degree? Can I afford it? Do I need a break from school or can I jump in right away? These are all very, very valid questions. And again, ones that you should start to consider and ask yourself. Now, when you're getting into that graduate school search, the other piece that you now need to think about would be the types of graduate studies that you want to pursue. Here in the United States and around the world, there are tons of graduate types of programs. You have your traditional master's types of degrees like an MBA or a Master's of Science, Master's of Arts. You also have PhD options. And then you also have JD, MD, which are more professional types of degrees. They are all different. They all require different preparation. And as you're thinking about the degree programs, you also want to think about your delivery. Do you want a program that is fully in person? Do you want a program that's online? Are you planning to work while you are studying? And then the other things you also need to identify, and this usually comes based off of your undergraduate experience, are the factors. Am I looking for a big school? If I'm going to the US, do I want that environment where sports are so important? Or do I want to be at a very academically driven school? Are there scholarship opportunities? Are there professional development opportunities? Do I fit in to the student body itself? Do I want a big major metropolitan city or do I want a more rural setting? Again, these are things that you need to start to think about. And as you are thinking about it, what you want to do essentially is create an Excel file. You want to start doing homework on this graduate school search. So create a file where you're able to answer all of these questions for all of the schools so that you can really do an analysis and make sure that you are making the right choices for which schools to apply to. And eventually, once you know those decisions, which ones you want to enroll in. But collecting information is critical, and these are ways that you can collect information. And once you've collected that information, follow-up is key. Remember, the admissions offices, folks like myself, we're the ones who are assisting you through that application process and passing you along to the application review committees. So your interaction with the admissions offices play a very big role. And we want to make sure that, we've had positive interactions with you. So please make sure that you do stay in touch with the admissions offices, that you email them, that you are active in their social media, that you attend their online information sessions, and more so. So that is some of the information on how you want to start to prepare your graduate studies. Now, the one question everyone asks me, which comes usually first, but it's not the first step, is what do I need to get into graduate school? What is the secret recipe? And there is no secret recipe. The one thing to know is that everything counts. In order to be able to be a university who is following all of the proper protocols, you should be running a holistic application review process. What does holistic mean? It means that everything that you submit in your application is used to make a decision that tells a story of who you are, not only as a applicant and as a student, but as an individual. The grades do not outweigh the test scores. The test scores don't outweigh your experience. It all counts equally. And that is the kind of application review process that you should be seeking out. Now, certainly there are ways that you could improve the odds, and we'll talk about those in a minute. But what you're seeing right here, and in particular, these icons, I want to take a few minutes on this slide to really talk about what the admissions process looks like. Now, this admissions process is for Carnegie Mellon's Heinz College of Information Systems and Public Policy in particular, but you'll find that as you start to explore other universities and even PhD programs, this is pretty much the standard for graduate studies in the United States. So you're going to be required to get a transcript from your home university and send it to the university that you are applying to. Many universities in the United States require what's called a transcript evaluation. There are some very large companies out there, such as WES, ECE, Spantran, who will convert the grades from the Pakistani education system into the US education system. I recommend that all students do that at the very beginning of their graduate school search, especially if you're planning to study in the United States. Because while some universities don't require it at the time of admission, all of them will require it at the time of enrollment. So it's best to just get it out of the way now so that you don't have to worry about that. Most universities do have a partnership with one of those types of evaluation services where you can have a special rate. Some of them have a 1-week turnaround. The earlier you start to plan that process, the better. We do look usually for 2 or 3 letters of recommendation. And my recommendation is that you find somebody who can talk about you more than you might even talk about yourself, right? So a lot of the time we get letters of recommendation from a student who took a class that relates to our degree program. And while that's fine and that's great, all that professor shares with us is that you took the class and that you were a good student, and that's all they know about you. Whereas if you are involved in a student club or organization, or you're doing an internship, hearing from somebody who can talk about your skills, your leadership, your ability to work in a team, really diving into who you are, that is what we are looking for out of a recommender. And in graduate school, again, because this is a concentrated field, we are ideally looking for 1 academic and 1 professional recommendation. We look for the CV or a resume. We want to know everything about you, right? This is your one chance to get in front of the admissions committee. So oftentimes you've probably been told that you need a 1-page resume. That's not necessarily the case for graduate studies. You're able to submit a resume that's 2 pages, sometimes 3. I would say 3 should be the max. But again, this is your one chance to get in front of the admissions committee. So the more information you can share with us, the better. TOEFL and IELTS, also now this past few years, we're accepting Duolingo. These are English language proficiency exams. They are required for students whose native language is not English. And so there are various minimum scores that each university will require. And most universities, keep this in mind, cannot issue you a student visa if your TOEFL, IELTS, or Duolingo scores are below the minimums. And each section has a minimum. So please do ensure that you are practicing and that you are preparing for these exams, because that could cost you the ability to enroll just purely based on not meeting those minimums. And then finally, the GRE and the GMAT. And you have found probably since COVID, over the past 4 years, that many universities are now making the GRE and the GMAT optional. And that is the case at Carnegie Mellon, Heinz College. We are not requiring the GRE and GMAT, but we are really weighing heavily on the quantitative coursework within your undergraduate degree to be able to help inform us of your quantitative abilities. So those are what you would need for applying to graduate school. Now, if you're considering a PhD, you'll find that you have some additional essays. You'll have to help provide information on your thesis or your dissertation that you're considering. Oftentimes, you'll want to talk about the faculty and the research that they're doing. So you'll find that often there are additional essays that you need to write. But every application will have one traditional essay, more a statement of purpose than anything. Talking about who you are, what are you interested in, what do you see yourself doing in 5, 10, 15 years from now, and how can that program and that university help you get there? So my number one recommendation for your essay is, again, to stay involved in the admissions process, because the more you attend sessions like this, the more that you read details on the website, the more that you interact with current students, the easier it will be to be able to write your essay and talk about why it's the right fit for you and why you are the right fit for that university. As I said, there are ways to improve the odds, so you can always study for any of the tests that you're considering. If you're still in school, keep those grades up. If you are looking to kind of pivot, see if there are independent projects or research opportunities. Do internships and get letters of recommendation from those internships. And we always encourage you to explain any anomalies in your record. So this is not meant to, everyone has information that they're worried about in their application. And if there's one thing in particular that really worries you about your application, we do have an optional essay. And this is your chance to share that extra information. So whether it be you took a year off because you were taking care of a sick family member, or there was a particular course that you didn't do very well in, and it was because you ended up with the flu during the final exam. These things happen. We won't know unless you share it with us. So I encourage you to explain those anomalies so that we aren't making any guesses. And then lastly here, I always encourage you to apply by the deadline. Your best chance of admission is to apply by the deadline, and also your best chance for scholarship is by applying through the deadline. But know and meet those deadlines. As I said, manners always count. And this is a very, very long process. So for those of you who are thinking, oh, I'm just going to start applying to graduate school tomorrow, it's more of a job search, and you should treat it that way. And take your time. Do not rush through it. Otherwise, it may not be a favorable outcome. So we're going to transition here now over to a little bit more about the lens that we come from here at Carnegie Mellon, and then I'll finalize with some details on financing your education. So here at Carnegie Mellon University, we are located in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and we are a top 25 ranked university overall. And we have a fantastic reputation for a number of areas relevant to students coming from Pakistan. We are the #1 school for information technology, the #2 school for quantitative analysis, #2 for information systems. We've been listed the #7 most innovative school, #10 for the best hires. I could go on. There are a ton of rankings for Carnegie Mellon University. Our School of Public Policy is consistently ranked in the top 10 School of Public Policy in the world. So I highly encourage you to explore our website and learn a little bit more about what we have to offer. But today we're not talking about the university as a whole. We're talking about Heinz College, which is where I particularly work and where Fatima and Hashim are students at. And we are one of the 7 colleges within the university, but we do, you'll find that there is a lot of overlap in what is offered at Carnegie Mellon University as a whole. Carnegie Mellon is extremely interdisciplinary. And so here you can see we are a School of Information Systems and a School of Public Policy under the same roof, under the same college. And that was intentional. CMU is at the forefront of innovation. And again, here you can see we are working to bring people together from around the world and from around disciplines to create a better future for yourselves and for those who aren't here yet. So again, we're going to use Heinz College here as our lens. And here in particular at Heinz College, we have 2 main schools, the School of Information Systems and the School of Public Policy. And over time, we found that with our core, we could teach students management and analytics and technology skills that could be applied to other areas. And so over time, we started to add in information security programs, healthcare analytics programs, and even arts programs. Our research centers span all of those disciplines, and we also offer PhD programs. But what you don't see here is any bachelor's degrees. And I think that's really important to share is as you are exploring graduate studies, some universities and colleges will only offer master's degrees and others will have bachelor's, master's, and PhD. In our particular case, it means that 100% of our resources are for graduate students. Our funding for attending conferences are for graduate students. Our career services team is for our graduate programs. And so you really get an individualized experience, something that is unique to Heinz College and unique to many universities around the United States. We are in Pittsburgh, as I mentioned, and one of the really cool things about Pittsburgh is that the city allows our students to use it as a test bed for all of their different types of degree programs. And that's not just the case here at Carnegie Mellon, that's the case at the University of Pittsburgh and many other universities here in the city. We partner with our mayor on a ton of projects. We work with partners in technology and medical informatics. We are a cultural center here in Pittsburgh. So for our art students, they are able to tap into their creative side. And what makes the city even better is that it is a low cost of living. So while you have everything that a New York and Chicago and San Francisco has to offer, it's in a much smaller setting, no traffic or comparative to any of those cities, and significantly cheaper to live in. And I think Hashim and Fatima will be able to speak on that from their perspective as well. But what I want to be able to share with you is that our students, as I said, use the city as a test bed, an urban lab, if you will. We're looking at smarter cities and communities to improve quality of life. We're seeking to improve healthcare and work with big pharma on issues of global consequence. We're teaching our students to go a step beyond technical thinking and actually understand the complex risks of security, of data privacy, and fortify the cyber posture of organizations and the threats that come against governments in the 21st century. And we do that all with a secret recipe. It is our core curriculum. And regardless of what program you are in, you will study analytics, technology, and implementation. And with that, you will make a real world impact. To break that down a little bit more, what that means is this is your core curriculum. Regardless of which degree program you are taking classes in analytics, you are going to be able to synthesize information, tell a story with it. You're going to use technology to be able to help decipher that information and apply it. And furthermore, implement it. You're going to have a mandatory internship. You're going to have a capstone project working with a real client. And most of our classes also have real world situations that you take what you're learning and apply it to. So it is a very hands-on degree program, regardless of what you study at the Heinz College. And it's all about really making sure that when you graduate, that you have full confidence that you can take what you've learned and apply it on that first day in the job. I talk a little bit about the capstone project, and out of our capstone projects have come some really innovative ideas. Things such as 412 Food Rescue, which is kind of like Uber, but for food. And so for food deserts or communities where there wasn't enough food, we are able to partner with restaurants who on an Uber type of app can say, we're closing down for the day, we have leftover food, or maybe there's a grocery store that has food that they're throwing away. It's not bad, but they're not allowed to sell it anymore. And they can then tell different communities who are in need of food to come pick that up. So that has been rolled out here in Pittsburgh first, but it is now in other major metropolitan cities, including San Francisco and beyond. We've had students help create a brand new school within the Pittsburgh public school system. They've helped to create access for paratransit. Even 911 emergency phone services and TSA PreCheck, which is used by our government these days, there were pieces of our capstone projects that helped to create those particular products. So there's some incredible things happening at the Heinz College and at Carnegie Mellon that you'd be able to get involved with. The other thing, and I talked about this earlier, and I think this is kind of our, I talked about our secret sauce earlier, our formula, our secret formula that we use. This is our secret weapon, and that would be career services. I find that our career services is probably one of the best career services teams I've ever seen. I've worked at 3 other universities since before coming here to Carnegie Mellon, and I've never seen a career office that really focuses on each individual degree program. Not only do our career services advisors make relationships with employers and with past employers and folks for internships, but also they manage our alumni network. And that's a really important piece, is networking. And so providing opportunities to our current students on what it is like in the field, what kinds of opportunities are available in the field. You'll even get alumni mentors. So there's a lot of great opportunity within our career services team that you'll be able to access as well. Now, before we get into the cost of the degree programs and how to apply for it, I did want to just also give you a brief overview of our degree programs. So first off, as I said, we have the School of Information Systems and Management, and we have our Information Systems degree programs and our security programs. The Information Systems programs is split off into 2 pathways. One would be a more traditional pathway where it's a flexible curriculum, and the other is a deep dive into business intelligence and data analytics. And then finally, we have our Information Security and Policy degree program, which is long been a national asset in cybersecurity. And it's this particular field, if you're not familiar, is growing at an unprecedented rate. So of any of our degree programs at Heinz College, the security program has the best job outcomes out of all of them. So Hashem's smiling because he's like, oh yeah, I knew that. Not that Fatima's going to have any issue either, though. So we are excited to share with you a little bit about those degree programs. So first off, with our security program, it is for students who are looking to make governments, organizations, private citizens safer and connected to the world. So within the core, we talked about that secret sauce, the analytics, the technology implementation. You also then have a specific set of security and management core classes. Then you get a little bit more fun and go outside the core. Things like defensive hacking, penetration testing, network situational awareness. And you pair that with your summer internships and your capstone projects and your experiential opportunities. So it's a great program. Again, all of these programs will require this internship that we're talking about. Within the Information Systems and Management program, as I said, there are 2 tracks to it. Technically, there are 4. So with this particular program, if you have 3 or more years of experience, you could also do a 1-year version of both of these programs, the traditional and the business intelligence data analytics. So 3 or more years of work experience, you skip out on the internship because we find that your work experience is more valuable, and you're able to just quickly come in and out of the university with a master's degree. If you choose the traditional track, as you can see here, there's a lot more flexibility and there are opportunities for specializations. If you do the data analytics track, you don't have much flexibility. You have a very regimented curriculum, and you'll see that here in a minute. So these are the specializations that you could take as part of the traditional MISM degree program. And then we have the business intelligence data analytics track that I'll share with you in a minute, but you can see if you maybe just want to take a couple classes in BI, you could do that. We find that most students don't actually choose a specialization. Instead, they take 1 or 2 classes from all of the different areas, kind of creating a toolbox of opportunity for them to be able to use these skills later on in the field. But for those who want to do a deep dive into business intelligence data analytics, you certainly can, and that is right here, where you take a deep dive into your core, having all analytics courses, business-related electives, and analytic electives. And of course, students want to know, well, will I be successful in this program? Yes. So here are some of the outcomes for our information systems and security programs. You can see a large number of students end up in these 4 buckets. Of course, with the one being at the far end, information security being a little bit more driven towards the security students. But even our information system students do end up in the security field. And the salaries are incredible here. So the average salaries for our School of Information Systems and Management is over $103,000 a year, with the highest salary clocking in most recently at $165,000 US. So very high return on investment with this degree program. Now, moving into our School of Public Policy and Management, similar to the Information Systems program, we also have 2 tracks for public policy. We have our traditional track, our data analytics track, but we also have a 3rd track, and that would be for our Washington, D.C. pathway students who are more interested in working in federal government or specifically in policy analysis. And you can see the breakdown here. So again, similarly, the traditional pathway has a lot more flexibility with concentrations that you could choose. The data analytics pathway is very regimented, and the DC pathway is even more specialized. So I'll talk about that one in just a moment. But here are the concentrations that you could choose as a policy student in the traditional track. Again, you could either select a concentration or just take classes from all of the different areas. And we are constantly having our students get involved in taking what they're learning and applying it. So here are just a few examples of ways that students have implemented policy within our university. And while I'm on there, I'll talk a little bit more about that Washington, D.C. track and the data analytics track. So that data analytics track program is looking for students who are a little bit more technical. You do have to come in with a little bit more quantitative coursework background, as well as Python, so familiar with programming. And then those who are looking at the Washington, D.C. track, those are for students who you actually will live in Pittsburgh for the very first year of the degree program. And then you move to Washington, D.C. for the second year of the program, and you work full-time in D.C. while studying in the evenings and on the weekends. And so it's a very deep dive, and it's all about getting connected to that international community and that federal government community in Washington, D.C. So for those who see themselves working for an international organization, that might be the right path and track for you. And if you're looking to maybe utilize skills in a wide range of different areas, then you could do the flexible traditional track. And again, those who want to do data analytics track is the perfect place for you. And these are some of those outcomes for our public policy students. With the average salary for our DC and our public policy students averaging around $70,000 US plus per year, and the data analytics track students over $90,000 US per year. And these are well over the national averages of other public policy programs. So we're extremely proud of that and those opportunities. And we're really proud of all of the things that our policy students are doing for the world. So it's a great opportunity. We've got our healthcare analytics and IT program, and this is for students who want to learn to use an innovative approach to solving the toughest problems within the healthcare systems, specifically using data analytics and IT. And so they use that secret sauce We also have our outcomes for our students in the healthcare programs. Here, where you can see they end up in either directly with the hospital and healthcare systems, within a consulting system, or even within the technology systems. So I know like Amazon, for instance, is now starting Amazon pharmacies, and there's a lot of technology involved there. It's all about being able to take advantage of the technology that's available and implementing it within the healthcare space. Lastly, we have our arts management and our entertainment industry management programs. And so you can see here there are verticals and horizontals. So this arts management is more what I like to call our nonprofit arts. And then we also have our entertainment industry management, which is the for-profit arts. Biggest difference here is that we have our arts management program, which is fully based in Pittsburgh, and then the entertainment industry management program, which is based in Pittsburgh for the first year, but in Los Angeles in the second year. And again, we know these fields are all about networking, so making sure that you're getting connected to the right people in the right communities. So that was a ton of information about our degree programs in a very small space of time. So I encourage you to learn a little bit more about our degree programs, and I'll share with you an opportunity how to do that in just a minute. But before I pass the baton over to Fatima and Hashim, and before we get to our questions, I just wanted to share with you about financing your education. So one of the things that Heinz College and many universities offer are merit-based scholarships. Some universities require a separate application for merit-based scholarships, and others will just include a question such as this in their application. So for the Heinz College, all we ask is, would you like to be considered for merit-based scholarships? As long as you answer yes, and you are admitted, you will automatically be considered for those scholarships. And there are great opportunities, and as you see, over 90% of our students receive some type of merit-based aid. Merit-based aid is part of that holistic application review process. And so it is awarded at the time of admission. So if admitted in your letter of acceptance, you'll find what that scholarship is. And you'll find that we are looking at fit. We're looking at relevant experience, the academics and the test scores, even those letters of recommendation. Everything is used to determine a merit-based scholarship. Now, beyond the merit-based scholarships, there are other opportunities. There are strategic partner opportunities, and many universities have various strategic partners. This happens to be a laundry list of our strategic partners. And if you take a look at our website, you may even find others that you potentially are connected with. But one of the strategic partners that I always want to call out and share would be Fulbright. And that is because I know we have a lot of students from Pakistan who come to us through Fulbright. So if you're considering graduate studies, that's one potential option to help fund. The scholarship opportunity through Fulbright, you get funding from Fulbright, and on top of that, you would be given an automatic 50% scholarship to the Heinz College as well. We're really proud of one of our recent alumnus, Anum Sadiq, who is the co-founder and chief education officer of EducationUSA in Pakistan, who was one of the more recent Fulbright scholars. So feel free to learn a little bit more about Anum and the opportunities that provided her to come to Carnegie Mellon through Fulbright. But you can scan that QR code to see that full list of our strategic partners. We also have external scholarship searches. And if you, one of my best analogies that I like to use is kind of with the lottery. If you don't play the lottery, you can't win the lottery. And that's the exact same thing with scholarships. If you don't search and apply for scholarships, you're not going to get any money awarded to you. So use these external scholarship opportunities to learn and apply for as many scholarships as you can, because they can all add up. And I encourage you to do so. And then finally, we have student employment opportunities. And I mentioned this earlier to Omer, but Fatima actually got the opportunity to work directly with me in the admissions office as a student employee. But there are non-federal work study opportunities where you are able to earn $17 an hour working on campus or within the community, and you're allowed to work up to 20 hours per week. So some great opportunity to earn money. You could be a teaching assistant, a research assistant, an office assistant, a web assistant, and sometimes they make up assistant positions. So there's lots of great opportunity to connect. So you've probably heard enough from me. We'll pass the baton over in just a moment, but I wanted to share two last slides. One would be how you can learn more about the Heinz College. We have a ton of opportunities for you to learn more. We do virtual one-on-one visits where we can dive into your goals and determine which program or track is best for you. We also have online information sessions and webinars that we host. We have a fall visitation program and an admissions ambassador program. So if you go on to this link here and fill out the form, you'll get all of the information for connecting with our ambassadors. We also do one-on-one visits. We have a diversity policy mentorship program. So I just encourage you to get involved. This is the same QR code. Go ahead and click that, scan that QR code, register to learn more information. And I look forward to hearing from you. This is my contact information. So please feel free to reach out either directly to me or to our general admissions office to have any questions answered, whether that be about graduate studies or about Carnegie Mellon's Heinz College. I'll put a link to that QR code here in the chat in just a minute, but I'd like to officially say thank you and pass it over to Fatima and Hashim to share a little bit more about themselves and their experience applying to graduate school.
Thank you so much, David. That was a really good effort. A lot of information and in such a compacted way.
I can go ahead and introduce myself. Meanwhile, I'm like David mentioned, I'm Fatima. I'm from Islamabad, Pakistan, and at CMU, I am pursuing a master's in public policy and management at Heinz College.
All right, so that was Fatima. Hi everyone, my name is Hashim Ikram. I'm also pursuing a master's degree at Heinz College in information security policy and management, one of the programs that David mentioned. Prior to this, I have pursued an undergraduate degree from NUST Islamabad, and then I went on to work at Jazz, formerly known as Mobilink, in the cybersecurity operations field. And currently I'm in the first year of my program, and I'm interested in pursuing a career. So my career interests are still evolving, which is always a good thing, at least in the first year. But I'm interested in pursuing security engineering, ethical hacking. I'm recently starting to get into reverse engineering, which is related to analysis of malware and kind of, again, reverse engineering it, as well as machine learning security, which is a huge up and coming field these days. Over to you, Fatma.
All right. Hashim, could you switch to the last slide, or I can share my screen, but that would take longer. All right. So before coming to Pittsburgh to pursue a master's, I graduated from my undergraduate degree in 2020. I was studying applied biosciences before that, so purely biological research based. After that, when I graduated in 2020, I worked in Marham, which is a digital health company in Pakistan. So I was in operations and management, and I really enjoyed that. So I knew that I wanted to work within that space, within healthcare. So that's why I chose Heinz. I think I really wanted a program that offered like a good mix of policy and management, but was also technically challenging enough. And I think Heinz really offers that. It's the perfect mix of policy and analytics. And for my programs, especially like David mentioned, there's a lot of flexibility in terms of the courses that you're able to take. So there's about 50 to 60% of the courses that you take are electives. So I was able to build a concentration within health policy and data analytics. And yeah, it's been an amazing experience. There's so many opportunities for experiential learning. And within my almost 2 years, I've been able to, like, through our projects and coursework, we've been able to work with key players in the industry. For a project, I was able to work on a project, work with Philips Respironics on one of their market re-entry strategies for ventilators. We've also worked with the Pittsburgh, the Allegheny County Council members on various projects, including like healthcare for healthcare GIS. So yeah, there's many opportunities like that. You also get to do an internship. Last year, this is my second year. I'm a senior. I'm about to graduate in May. So for my internship last summer, I worked at Sodexo, which is a multinational facilities and food services company. Yeah, over to you, Hashim.
All right, thank you, Fatma. So I guess because I'm in the first year, so I'm still going to be pursuing my internship this summer. I'm currently in the process of obviously applying, but I just wanted to go over why I specifically chose Heinz. So again, as I've already mentioned, I was already working in cybersecurity, and I was pretty certain that this is the field for me. I enjoyed working. That's why I actually decided to pursue a master's degree. And then when it came to deciding which university to go to or even apply to, trust me, if you just do a Google search right now, just take 5 minutes out, it won't be difficult to see that Heinz and CMU in general stands out, not just in like cybersecurity, but IT in general. So David obviously talked about the rankings, and I mean, obviously rankings aren't everything, but when you're initially starting your search, they do help a lot. So CMU is the #1 school in computer science for undergraduate. That's something I found out actually when I was looking for a university when I was, trying to pursue an undergraduate degree. I didn't know I would end up doing my master's from here. But I discovered this university back when I was actually conducting my research for undergraduate. And then obviously I switched to cybersecurity, and then I was pleasantly surprised to find out that they're #1 in cybersecurity as well. So it kind of like they have a track record that's proven. And obviously now speaking from the other side, I can really say that it's true, and I can attest to why it's true. So there's this amazing faculty that Heinz has. They're working in the intersection of IT and policy, and they're really like making impact to whichever field they're in. I just like remember this seeing David's slides. There was this one slide which mentioned how they were able to crack the social security number algorithm. And I think the person on that slide was Alessandro Acquisti. I've taken a course from him, and he is just like a master in his own field. There's this entire subdomain of economics that he's kind of pioneered and invented. I like to tell everybody that. And he's just like one of many examples of amazing professors that Heinz and CMU has. Another huge advantage to CMU is that you can take courses from pretty much any college or school across the campus. So obviously we're here representing Heinz today, David specifically, but I also want to mention that as long as you're a Heinz student, you can actually take any course from any school, whether or not it's related to your degree. And you can even audit those courses so that they don't really impact your GPA. But as long as you're interested in learning, it's all game. So those are some of the very major differences that I felt reviewing other universities and CMU. And just one more thing that I wanted to mention is how important the kind of curriculum that Heinz has built in the intersection of technology and policy is, because oftentimes we feel like I was coming from a technical background, and I had my fair share of management skills or courses that I had taken over the years during my undergraduate degree, but I still felt like I didn't have the necessary experience to kind of go on and lead an organization one day. So That's why I was particularly interested in the Heinz program, but there's also much more technically focused programs in other schools. But the reason I chose Heinz was obviously their focus on tech as well as policy, which is super practical. And you'll feel that when you actually get here and get to learn all of this.
Thank you. So if I could ask, you've now been through 1 year and now 2 years of graduate studies. Throughout your experience applying to graduate school, looking back, what's something that 1 or 2 things that you wish you knew when applying to graduate school that you now know?
Yeah, sure. So I actually applied back in 2022. I ended up deferring my admission in 2022. I ended up enrolling in 2023. So this is like a huge while back, but I feel like there's not much I could say I wish I knew, because again, I did my research. As David said, just use all the resources you have. I think the best way to gauge any graduate school's potential is to use LinkedIn. It's a great resource. Just go and see where all the people, all the alumni are working. And that's like, there's no better way of telling, assessing any graduate school's potential than just that. Obviously, we all the universities and all the schools, they like to say that this is the best place for you to be. But I feel like the best way to assess it is just see where the alumni are working and what they're working in. And again, the faculty is amazing. Just go through what they're doing, whichever field you're interested in. I'm sure there's gonna be people who are interested in other schools at CMU as well, and we welcome you to apply to any school at CMU. So just do your research as to who the faculty are, what their contributions are to the field, and just try to connect with alumni and share what you want to do at CMU and just connect with their experiences.
Thank you, Fatima.
And something that I wish I knew when I was applying for colleges is, speaking for myself, but also this would be my biggest advice to all of you is, don't be afraid to challenge yourself. And if you look at when you're doing your research, if you come across programs that you really like, but you think you're not experienced enough for, or you don't have the technical background, but if you're still eligible to apply, I would say go for it, because there's just so many opportunities to learn while you're in the program. And especially if it's a 2-year program, like I said, there's so much flexibility with the courses that you're able to take. There's so much help. There's so much resources available on campus that can help you learn. And I'm sure Hashim would testify that there are so many people within the information security program also who don't have any background in information security, but they're still able to excel. Of course, the process might be a little bit slower for you, but generally the faculty, the career services representatives, and all the other resources on campus really do a great job to bring you up to speed and well in time for your exams, for your internship, for your graduation. And that's something that I learned the hard way, because when I was applying, David mentioned that the healthcare analytics program, I saw that when I was doing my research, and I didn't apply to it because I thought, oh, I don't know any Python. I have no coding experience, so I shouldn't apply to this. I won't be able to do well. But while I'm here, most of the courses that I'm taking right now are from that program and from the data analytics track. And it's just the core public policy courses that I took. And apart from that, all the courses that I took were from the healthcare analytics and data analytics track. So, I mean, I'm doing well. I think I was really able to figure it out in time and was able to, register for a mix of courses that would help me as I graduate and apply to jobs. But yeah, if you can, if it's something that you can figure out before applying, and then that can help you to apply to the right kind of programs, I think it would be really helpful.
So I hear you suggesting to talk with the admissions offices so that you can make sure that you're applying for the right program, right?
Absolutely, yes.
And also
that
take
was great.
advantage of your Education USA office because, and I know there are multiple offices within Pakistan, various cities. The advisors there can also help you to really dive into what is the right program, what's the right track. They might have relationships with those universities, or at least be comfortable to reach out to those universities and help get a little bit more information. So take advantage of the Education USA offices as well.
Yeah, that was a
Thank
great
you.
suggestion. Just wanted to add that just remind me of something. So back when I was applying, obviously, David mentioned that you have to go through a transcript evaluation process. And David mentioned that that's a little different from some universities because most of the universities, they require it when at the time of enrollment. CMU is, or at least Heinz is different in the way that it requires it with the application itself. So that initially, when you're just thinking about applying, you feel like that's kind of an extra step. It may feel like a deterrent, and obviously it costs some money. But the thing is, that's how I ended up applying. There's no application fee for Heinz College. They've actually waived the entire application fee, so you're only paying for the transcript evaluation itself. And I can assure you that that's going to be an investment, because if you do obviously end up applying and you get in, the opportunities that you will have as a CMU, as a Heinz graduate, are going to be unparalleled. So that little kind of hesitation that I felt initially, and I had to overcome, that might probably be the case with you as well. Don't let that be a deterrent.
Thank you.
Thank you.
A quick question for Fatima and Hashim. When you guys were shortlisting universities while you were in Pakistan, how many universities did you guys shortlist, and how many universities did you guys ended up applying in, and how many admissions decisions did you guys receive?
I can
Fatima, do you
go
want to go?
first.
Yeah.
Sure. So this would not be maybe a very helpful answer, but Heinz College at CMU was the only place that I applied to. I had visited Pittsburgh a few times. I have some family here. My brother lives here, and I was in love with the campus every time I got to visit. The program was perfect. And now while I'm in it, I think it was an amazing choice. The value that I'm getting out of this degree is something that I probably could not have gotten elsewhere. Especially, I think we take it for granted that we have so many programs, like we have information systems, we have data analytics and public policy within the same building. But I think that's something that you can't get anywhere else. And you learn so much from your peers. I mean, when I was in my first month here, I wasn't planning to take Python or SQL or so many other like analytical courses, but it's because it has that atmosphere of all these different mix of backgrounds and experiences that the students around you are having, that you really it pushes you to do something that you never thought you could have done before, to challenge yourself, to take courses that you never thought you would be able to excel in. And I think that's I made the perfect choice.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Fatma. So we didn't really plan this, but I also just ended up applying to just CMU, just Heinz, but I was looking at a few other schools. So the thing is that CMU, or at least Heinz, the deadline for Heinz application is January 10th, or at least that it was the case 2 years ago. So that was the first in my timeline of deadlines. And obviously, CMU was my number one choice, and I just wanted to get in. I'd even decided to myself that if I don't get in, I'm going to apply again. I won't go to any other university, even if I did get admitted. So So the decision from CMU actually came in March, and my next deadline was in April. So I just abandoned all plans for any other applications. And also, as Fatma mentioned, CMU is unique in a way that whatever is being taught at CMU, there's definitely some contribution of CMU faculty or students to that very field. So obviously I'm from information security, and I've worked in information security for a few years prior to this. So I kind of knew all the standards and the practices that went on in the industry. When I was researching CMU, particularly their to their what they have contributed to the field, I was quite surprised to see that some of the very fundamental practices that the entire world practices right now in information security, they were built right at CMU. If there's anyone who's interested in information security, studying information security, I'd be happy to help you out and just let you know what I was able to research. And that really helps you because this is a place that has been, making a very impactful change in the information security space since the 70s and the 80s, if not even earlier than that. So that's like a huge selling point, just to be in that place which inspires you, and you're surrounded by people who have like contributed so meaningfully to the field that you're trying to get into or excel in. That's like a huge advantage.
Thank you. So now we can start taking questions from the students. David, there's no application fee for Heinz College?
That is correct. Yes, specifically the Heinz College. So I can't speak to other colleges within the university, such as the Tepper School of Business or the School of Computer Science. But at the Heinz College in particular, we do not charge an application fee. It is open for all applicants to apply completely for free. But as Hashim did mention, there is the requirement of the transcript evaluation, which does cost money. So we ask students to take what you've saved from the application fee and apply it towards that evaluation, which eventually you would need anyway.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much. Students are asking if Hashim and Fatima can share their email address. If you guys are comfortable, you guys are more than welcome to put that in the chat. David, a question for you. Is GRE optional or mandatory for admissions?
Yes, for all of our master's programs, the GRE or the GMAT, whichever you prefer, is optional.
Okay.
But for our PhD programs, it is required.
Okay. And what would be an ideal GRE score?
We do not have an ideal GRE score. We are, again, holistic in our review process. That being said, one of the pieces that we are really looking at with the GRE is the quantitative section. Because our programs are quantitative in nature, require a lot of diving into the analytics and the technology space, we want to just make sure that our applicants are prepared quantitatively for the degree program. But again, there's not a minimum requirement because we even have, sometimes we offer conditional admission, where if a student maybe is on the verge of having the quantitative scores where we would want them to be, we would invite them to gain admission to the program, but on the condition that they take a 7-week online math course with us over the summer prior to the start of the degree. And as long as you pass that course with a B or better, then you get to enroll in the degree program. So we do have a lot of other programs that come into play there.
Okay, perfect. So a student is asking, does a good working experience, such as 3 years, play part in the application?
Any work experience. 3 is great. Even an internship is relevant experience, right? I have seen students who only have 1 or 2 months worth of an internship, but anytime that you can show that you've had exposure to the field, that you are at least somewhat familiar with it, and then that you can also get a letter of recommendation from a supervisor of that experience, absolutely, it's fantastic. It's relevant. So yeah.
Great. Thank you so much. I think that concludes our session today. Once again, thank you so much, David, Fatima, and Hashim for joining us today and sharing your journey with us. Even I learned a lot from the session. For the students, please note down the Fatima's and Hashim's email address. If you have any questions, you're more than welcome to send them an email. And for those who are asking if this session will be posted on a recorded, the recording will be shared or not, it will be shared on our Facebook page within a week or two. Thank you once again. You guys have a good day.
Thank you so much, Omer.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you, the
you.
auditor.
Bye.
Thank you, David. See you around.
See ya.